Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to kind of just touch again on the part 107, the small unmanned aircraft systems test that you have to take if you want a commercial drone pilot's license. If you want just the recreational, you take that trust exam, that basic exam, just the safety stuff, and you're on your way to be a recreational pilot. But there's a lot of restrictions with being a rec pilot. Places you can fly, can't fly, who you can fly above, the times you can fly. I know here in Los Angeles, where I live, there are a lot of restrictions, especially that I'm literally like 4.8, 4.9 miles from Los Angeles International Airport, which puts a lot of restrictions on me. But about 2.5 weeks ago, this came in the mail. This is my official FAA unmanned aircraft system pilot's license. It says remote pilot, and it has my name, and it says has been found properly qualified to exercise the privileges of remote pilot. It came about 2.5 months after I took the exam back in June 18th is when I took it. I don't know if you guys saw my last video, but I scored a 90, which means I missed 6 questions. And remember, they don't tell you what questions specifically you missed. The only thing they tell you is the section of the study guide that you can kind of go back to look at that specific area. So it won't say, oh, you missed question 6, but it'll say you missed something about weather, or you missed something about some rule or regulation or something like that. So just going into this, just kind of remember that I'm not some regular pilot or everyday pilot or even a weekend pilot. I fly flight simulators, and I have since '98. And I've always found, as much as I would love to become a pilot, a real full-on pilot, it's just always been kind of beyond my means, just growing up and even now. So if I can't be in a big plane, let me fly a small one, right? And drones are really fun. They help relieve my stress. They give me some really good photos. And so it's a good investment. You're investing in yourself, because not only are you getting the license, but you're really getting a lot of knowledge, reading these charts, being able to understand how this works and that works. So if and when you do want to kind of move forward, you can. But like I said, if you just want to be a regular drone recreational pilot, you take the trust, the TRUST exam given by the FAA. I think some sites give it, and then you'll be one and done. But if you kind of want to go to the next level, where even you can get paid for flying your drone and doing things, then you got to pass that exam, the part 107 exam. So there are a lot of practice tests out there. There's on YouTube, there's websites, there's all sorts of places. But 2 places I found, one is the FAA's website, and then the other is by King Schools. And King Schools, you can take from 20 to 60 questions, and that's a good way. The one on the FAA, which is this one here, guys, it doesn't give you the answers. It only gives you questions. So, and it's just over a year old. I took the exam almost 3 months ago. This is 8/10/21, so we're a little over a year old. However, again, so it has some good questions, because I do remember seeing, if not these specific questions, very similar questions. Not normally there's 60. The practice exam, the FAA gives you, is only 46. But like I said, you can go to like this one here from King Schools, and you could put how many you want. Let's say you want 20, and then it'll tell you how long you have. If you want all 60, it'll tell you how long you have to complete it, and then you could choose categories. This is a pretty good one. I think they have like 3 tests or something like that. But we're going to go ahead with the one given by the FAA. Like I said, yeah, it's a year old, but it still has really, really good information. And there's just a few things actually I want to just kind of talk about before we get into the exam. One is this puppy here. So this is the supplement, the testing supplement that you get when you go into the testing center. It's a book, and this is exactly what it says. This is from 2016. If there is one from 2022, I don't know. I haven't used it. The one I got at the testing center was from 2016, but it worked flawlessly. This is something that you guys will definitely want to be familiar with, not just going to the testing center and seeing this for the first time, like, what is it? And there's a few things that I really like. This book was really a lifesaver, but let's go to, first it's going to be this section here. All right, so this is the sectional aeronautical chart, and here it has airport data, things about airport, things about airspace, things about obstructions, which you're definitely going to have to answer. Like, it'll say something about a tower or this or that, and how high can you go, or how high do you have to be, and things like that here. So if you're not sure, you could refer back. So this sectional aeronautical chart at the beginning of that supplement book they give you is a gem. Know where it is. Familiarize yourself with it, on how to read it, what things mean, because you will be coming back to this a lot. And like I said, I consider myself a flight simulator enthusiast. And I always was like, oh yeah, I know how to read all these charts and know what this means and know what that means, and I've been doing it for a long time. But man, I was really surprised, even with myself. I was like, I didn't know that, and I didn't know this, and oh, okay. I guess I'd become so fixated on only knowing certain things instead of kind of broadening my horizons. But either way, this is something really, really good to know. Know where it is, know what it is, because you will definitely be coming back to it. So that being said, we're going to go back to the exam, and I picked some questions, and then I'm going to skip some questions because they're, you'll figure out what it is that you specifically struggle with or don't struggle with, and things like that, and it'll kind of come to you. So we'll start. It says, so let me back up one more time. Before we do that, you guys got to go to this website. I'm going to put the link in the description. It is the study guide. Let me say that again. This is the study guide for the exam. Yes, okay, it's 6 years old. You're like, a lot of stuff has changed. A lot of stuff has changed, but a lot more has remained the same, or the principle behind it is the same. So don't say, oh, this is from 2016. We're going on 2023. This is outdated. This is no good. It is still good. There is a lot of useful information. You just got to kind of dig it out. And hopefully in the next little bit, we will go about that. We'll learn this together and kind of take our time, because you're investing money not only in yourself, and you want to go about things the right way. You want to take your time. You don't want to have to rush. So when you do go, you feel comfortable, feel good about the investment you're making in yourself. And you do that by just taking a little extra time to study. All right, so let's start with question 1. It says, what are characteristics of moist, unstable air? You're like, okay, if you studied the study guide here, we'll go down to page, I want to say it's page 24. And the pages are marked, so page 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, I got my little notes here, so don't mind me. So 24, and again, it talks about weather. So the question is, what are characteristics of a moist, unstable air mass, right? Go to page 24. And it talks about atmospheric stability, right? And it says, in an unstable atmosphere, small vertical air movements tend to become larger, resulting in turbulent airflow and convective activity. So, instability can lead to significant turbulence, extensive vertical clouds, and severe weather. So we know it's going to have turbulence, vertical clouds, big big, tall clouds, and severe weather. So the question says, what are characteristics of moist, unstable air mass? Turbulence. And with those big clouds, and what else? What else did it say? Severe weather, which is showery precipitation. So it's going to be A. Remember, that study guide is going to be your gem. Yes, it's 88 pages, and you're like, dang, that's a lot. But I'll tell you what, read it over time, break it up into parts, into pieces, break up weather, and then break up airspaces and whatever else. You know, break it into pieces. Take this big thing and make it manageable. So what are characteristics of a moist, unstable air mass? They are turbulence and showery precipitation. It will be A. And again, if you're not sure, or if you happen to already take the test, or you do take the test and you get something wrong, it tells you this is what you'll see on the exam. So when you go to the testing center and you finish the exam, once you're done, you're going to get a printout, and it'll say your name, your score, how many attempts it was, and if it was whatever attempt. And instead of saying question 1 was wrong, question 2, question 3, it'll give you these codes. And with these, you'll be able to go back into, I want to say, this is it. Back to this, the Airman Certification Standards, and it tells you how to get there. And I'll put the link in the description. So let's say you get it wrong. Instead of the number, it'll give you this. And with this, you will go and look up this code in this standards thing. And what we'll do is we will put it in there, and it tells you this code means you got something wrong on air masses and fronts. So you know from here, you can go over here and look up stuff on air, weather, atmosphere, and what have you. All right. So hopefully we kind of understand that. So it gives you the question, and then it gives you where the topic, and then from this number from the topic, you can go back to the study guide and then kind of narrow that down, right? So the next question, it says, according to 14 CFR Part 107, which is the code, the regulations these fall under, how may a remote pilot operate an unmanned aircraft in Class C airspace? Okay, in Class C airspace, what do you do? Do you just fly? Can you just, the remote pilot must have prior authorization from air traffic control facility having jurisdiction over that airspace? B, the pilot must monitor the air traffic control frequency from launch to recovery. From the moment you take off to the moment you land, you got to monitor ATC. Or C, the remote pilot must contact air traffic control facility after launching the unmanned aircraft. So you do contact, but after. So we're going to go back. So by the way, when you guys see me look down, I'm looking at my notes, and then it tells me what page I can find this in the study guide. So it helps me kind of just be a little more smooth. All right. So how may a remote pilot operate an unmanned aircraft in Class C airspace? So we're going to go back to our study guide. We're going to use the study guide just for sake of, hey, we forgot everything, right? So we're going to go down to page 6. And page 6 talks about airspace, uncontrolled airspace, different types of airspaces. Well, actually, page 5 does. And it introduces it. And it gives us really good diagram of what airspaces look like, how high Class A is, Class E, C, B, and D. So the question again asks, how may a remote pilot operate an unmanned aircraft in Class C? Okay, so it's saying you can, but what do you got to do? So we see Class B. We're going to go here to Class C. So it says, we're going to kind of read blah, blah, blah. No, it's not blah, blah, blah. But we're going to read it. And at the end of this paragraph, it says, a remote pilot must receive authorization before operating in Class C. And that goes for me, mind you. So Los Angeles International, huge airport, it's Class C. Because I'm within that 5-mile radius, I'm in their airspace, I have to contact the aircraft traffic control before I go 1 foot off the ground, even half a foot. I got to contact them before I operate in that airspace, right? So going back, because it's Class C, we must have authorization before. So it's going to be A. All right. And again, this is the code that you would refer to find in the study guide. All right. Guys, if you have questions, comments, concerns, or if I'm doing something wrong, or you could help me, because the better I get, the better I could help the next person. So I'm all for, good stuff. So question 3 says, according to 14 CFR Part 107, the remote pilot in command, or PIC, pilot in command, you'll see that a lot on the exam, of a small unmanned aircraft planning to operate within Class C airspace, A, must use a visual observer. So the only time you need a visual observer is what? When you do not have direct line of sight on that drone. If that drone, and you know you're going to be flying it somewhere where you're going to lose line of sight, you need to have a visual observer. So you are flying it and someone else constantly has a line of sight on it, because you always have to have a line of sight on the drone. Is B, required to file a flight plan, or C, is required to receive ATC authorization. So just as the question before, we just talked about Class C airspace. If it's Class C, you must have prior authorization. So the answer would be C, is required to receive ATC authorization. I cannot emphasize that enough. Class C, if you're in that airspace, you have to ask that tower, that air traffic controller, first before you operate your drone. So for number 3, the answer is C. And again, if you don't remember, you can go back to the study guide, and again, it'll say, and we just had it highlighted, a remote pilot must receive authorization prior to operating. You know, it's crazy that my drone, it's oh my goodness gracious, it's a stone. I am so embarrassed. It's a holy stone. It's a holy stone, and it's a cool little drone. It was like 200 and something on Amazon, but it takes really good pictures. Definitely not like, yeah, I had the license for the drone, but I'm not like a pro. You know, those guys that really do their thing. I'm still learning. You know, I try to fly as much as I can when I can, but being in LA, the metropolitan area, I really have to pick and choose the places I go to fly. But anyways, moving on. Holy stone. Oh, holy smokes. So question 4 says, what effect does high density altitude have on the efficiency of an unmanned aircraft propeller? So high density, they're talking about the air, that the higher you go, the thinner the air is, right? And then the lower you are, the lower the density, the thicker the air is. So what effect does high density altitude have on the efficiency of a UA propeller? So if you're high, or you go high, is your propeller efficiency, do the propellers turn, is the efficiency increased? Or when they turn, is the efficiency decreased? Are they not as effective high as they are low? Or does the altitude not affect the propeller efficiency at all? It doesn't matter if you're high or low. It doesn't make a difference. So we're going to go and look at the study guide. This is question 4 in my notes. Okay, I know what page. We're going to go to page 21. And we're going to find that out, you know. So it talks about density altitude. As the density of the air increases, which is lower, aircraft performance increases. So the lower the plane is, the better the performance is. Conversely, as aircraft density decreases, or higher density altitude, aircraft performance decreases. Okay? So the higher you go, the less effective your propeller and the aircraft will be, right? It says, or not, the aircraft won't be as it's not like the plane will break apart, you know, if you fly the drone at 400 feet, but the propellers are not as efficient as if you're at 50 feet. So the question was, what effect does high density altitude have on a drone. And we just learned high density altitude decreases, so the propeller efficiency is decreased. So the answer would be B. And again, we just turn to the study guide, and the answers are there. So question 5, it says, referring to FAA CT and this number, figure 22, at, look, I'm not French, so don't shoot me, at Coeur d'Alene, this an airport, which frequency should be used as a common traffic advisory frequency, or CTAF, to monitor airport traffic? So this is where we're going to go back to our supplement guide, right? The supplement guide that I referred to, I said that you'll be using a lot. And it says figure 22. So we're going to go down to, we're going to pull up our chart. I think it's like 22, 25 or something like that. So this is chart 26. We're looking for chart 22, right? All right. So let's go up. Figure 24, figure 23, figure 22, and figure 21. Did I do that right? Did it say figure 21? Figure 22, area 2. All right, so this one right here. So here is the airport it's referring to. And the question says, which frequency should be used as a CTAF to monitor airport traffic? So as we look in here, we see that there's actually a few frequencies, right? We have 135.075, 122.8, 108.8, and you shoot, which one's CTAF? Which one is the common traffic advisory frequency? This is where we go back to that sectional chart I was talking about. So right now we're at 221. This is the page, but we're going to go back to that 1.1 thing. No, sorry, 1.1. And it tells us here. So this is airport data. And it has a bunch of frequencies, right? Unicom, this. And it tells you. When you go down here, it says C right here. C indicates common traffic advisory frequency, or CTAF. So we're looking for the frequency or the number that has the C next to it, just like this one, right? Or the C, this ATIS. All right. So if we go back, what was it? 25.1? I don't remember. Sorry, guys. It's been one of those days. You know, I've had a pretty long week. I travel 4 days a week. You know, I leave Mondays, I come back Fridays. I'm pretty tired a lot of the time, so forgive me. But let's see, I need to find the charts. This is figure 34. We're going back to 23, right? In the book, you know, it's easier. You just flip through everything, flip through all the channels and or all the pages, and you kind of get there quick. All right, so this is figure 24. Figure 23. Or 22. Actually, here it is. All right, so back here we look at it, we're looking for the C. That C said it was the one, the CTAF, and the C is right next to which one? Over here next to 122.8. That means that's the common traffic advisory frequency, because the C is right next to it. Just like if we went down here, this C again is 122.8, and it's telling you this C lets you know that this frequency at whichever airport that's the common traffic advisory frequency. All right, so going back, which one is it? It would be C, 122.8. And why is that? Because we just saw that C, as you see is highlighted, is 122.8. All right. So the next question, moving on, is going to be we'll do 6. Question 6. Which technique should a remote pilot use to scan for traffic? A remote pilot should systematically focus on different segments of the sky for short intervals, A. B. Concentrate on relative movement dedicated, or let me read that again. Concentrate on relative movement detected in the peripheral in the peripheral visions of area, or C, continuously scan the sky from right to left. Okay? So, when I first saw this, even though I know I'd read it, I was like, dang, did I read this right? Was this right? Did I remember correctly? And I was like, it's either A or C, but I didn't remember which one. Anyway, so going back, we're like, okay, question 6 is talking about scanning the sky, right? So again, we go back to what? What am I going to go back to? I am going to go back to my study guide, right? And we're going to go down to page 50. And this study guide, 37, 43, 45, 40. Okay, boom. And it talks about vision and flight. To scan effectively, scanning techniques right here. To scan effectively, pilots must look from right to left or left to right. And they should begin scanning at the greatest distance an object can be perceived and move inward toward the position of the aircraft. For each stop, an area approximately 30 degrees wide should be scanned. The duration of each stop is based on the degree of detail that is required, but no stop shall last longer. So every time you stop, it shouldn't be longer than 2 to 3 seconds. Don't stop and start daydreaming. 2 to 3 seconds and you're moving. You're constantly moving. You never know. It could be a bird, another drone, another plane. It could be anything. And then when moving from one viewing point to the next, pilots should overlap the previous field by 10 degrees. So it literally, again, gives you the answer. If you didn't know the answer, the question was, what technique should a remote pilot use to scan for traffic? It literally tells you. They must look from right to left. They should begin scanning, So which one of the different segments of the sky for short intervals? 2 to 3 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds, and then you keep moving, right? And then inward toward the aircraft. All right. So number 7, it says we're going back to that supplemental guide, supplemental thing they give you when you go to the testing center. It says, if an unmanned airplane weighs 33 pounds, what approximate weight would the airplane structure be required to support during a 30-degree bank turn while maintaining altitude? All right. So we go back to that supplemental guide. I'm going to see if we could pull that sucker up here. The study guide. And it talks about the load. Where was the load factor? Sorry, guys. I'm telling you, I really try my best. So we're going to, figure 2. All right, so figure 2. This figure 22, we got to go up a little. Here it is. All right, so it says it weighs 33 pounds and a 30-degree bank angle. So 30-degree bank angle, and the load factor at 30 degrees would be 1.154. All you'll do is multiply that by the weight of the aircraft, which they gave you, which is 33, and it gives you about 38. So they also give you a calculator on the test, like on the computer. You could pull up the calculator if your math's not that good. But it's really easy. Whatever the weight is, you'll multiply that by the load factor depending on the angle of bank. So if it's like a 70-degree angle, you would multiply the weight of the aircraft times the load factor given. But like I said, in our case, it's 30 is the angle of bank. So you'll multiply 1.154 times 33, and you get about 38. So that would be how that one is done. So you just multiply the load factor times the weight of the aircraft, and you get the load factor depending on the angle of bank. All right, I hope I didn't confuse anybody and I made that clear. One more time. So you'll get the angle of bank. They'll tell you, it's a 30-degree angle of bank. Based on the chart, 30-degree angle of bank equals a load factor of what? 1.154. So you'll take that, multiply it by the weight of the aircraft, which is 33. So 33 times 1.154 is about 38. And there's your answer. Again, if you're not sure, here, I think I had it. So we'll just go to real quick to the study guide, and I think it's page 31. And again, I really encourage you guys to get this study guide and kind of learn it. But here it talks about load factor in turns and what to do. And it kind of explains it. So if you're not sure, you can always just go back to the study guide, and they'll tell you. All right, so moving on, question 8. It says, what is the floor of the Savannah Class C airspace at the shelf area, or the outer circle? And we'll see what they're talking about here in a second. So it's figure 23. Sorry guys, I wish I kind of had a better method. I'm still kind of learning it, but all right. So let's make sure I have it all. I do. All right. So again, the question, what is the floor of the Savannah Class C airspace at the shelf area, or the outer circle? So if we look, sorry guys, yeah, there it is. If we look at the Savannah, okay, here's the Savannah airspace, right? Class C airspace. This is the inner circle and the outer circle. You have the outer circle, you have this number here. Let's see if I can zoom in some here. These numbers here represent the ceiling, the top, and the surface, the bottom. So the question is asking us again, what is the floor, the bottom part of the Savannah Class C airspace at the outer circle? Looking at the outer circle, we see that the ceiling, the top, is 41. So this 13 would be the what? The surface, the bottom, right? Based on that, the question again is asking you, okay, so we know it's 13, right? 1300. Is it 1300 AGL or 1300 MSL? And you say, okay, we go back to what? What am I going to go back to? That supplemental guide. I'm like, dang, is it 13? Is it MSL or ASL? And this will give you the answer. Remember, go back to that sectional error guide, and it tells you, let's see if I get it right here, MSL are shown on this chart. So all the altitudes you see. So when we go back and you see that the surface and ceiling, where is it? I appreciate you guys bearing with me. We're gonna make it work. It's a learning experience. I'm not a super pro video maker or anything like that. I just kind of do the best I can. So if 41 is the ceiling, 13 is the surface, we know that, and the sectional just told us that all altitudes are going to be in MSL. We know the answer is going to be B, 1300 MSL, right? Again, we see the surface is 13, and then the sectional just told us all the altitudes are going to be in what? MSL. So we know the answer is 1300 feet MSL. All right. Question 9. 9, yeah. With ATC authorization, you are operating your small unmanned aircraft approximately 4 miles southeast, statute miles, southeast of Elizabeth City Regional Airport. What hazard is indicated to be in the area? All right, so we're going to go, it's telling us in that supplemental guide, figure 20. So we are going to pull up our supplemental guides. It's 23, 22, 21. All right. So in this here, it's asking us 4 statute miles southeast of the Elizabeth City Regional Airport. So if this is Elizabeth City, so over here, this is the airport. Don't mind that highlighting stuff up there. Elizabeth City Regional Airport is this right here. Okay, and it's saying we are going to be 4 statute miles southeast. So if we go south, about, let's say right here, and then east, we'll be in this area, right? Because this is east, this is west, this is north, and this is south. Again, let's see if I could. So you have north, north. If I can get this thing right, north, south, east, and west. All right. So for 4 statute miles southeast, we're going to be in this area. Holy smokes, there's a box, and it says unmarked caution, unmarked balloon on cable to 3,008 feet MSL. Check NOTAMs, notice to airmen's. So we found what the issue is. 4 miles southeast, there's a box, and it says unmarked balloon on cable up to 3,008 MSL, right? So going back here, what is hazardous in the area? It just told us a balloon, right? And how high is the balloon? 3,008 what? MSL or AGL? MSL. So we go back here. It's an unmarked balloon on a cable up to 3,008 MSL. And there's your answer. You just, I know these things can seem kind of overwhelming. You're like, oh my God, especially when I start drawing on them the way I did, like a, no, I don't want to delete. I want to just erase what I don't even know how to erase what I did, but, let's see if I could, there we go. All right. So I know these sometimes can seem a little overwhelming and confusing, but you just got to focus on what it's asking you and telling you. So if it's saying, 4 statute miles southeast of Elizabeth City Regional Airport, when you look at the chart, first thing, try to find that airport. Don't worry about everything else. It's an airport, so we're going to be looking for something that kind of stands out. And then you kind of go deeper and deeper, but don't just look at it and go, oh my God, like there's a lot. Focus on what the question's asking you, and from that you'll be able to build on finding your answer. All right. So question 10 talks about, it asks us, again, we're going to be referring to the supplemental book that they give you, Figure 21, and it says you have been hired by a farmer to use your small UA to inspect his crops. The area that you are to survey is in Devil's Lake West, MOA, Military Operating Area, east of Area 2. How would you find out if the MOA is active? All right, so if we go to, we're going to go to Figure 21 here, and we're going to find Devil's Lake MOA, which I believe, oh shoot, didn't want to do that, guys, is over here. Okay, so Devil's Lake MOA, we see it all way over here to the west. And the question asks us, how would we find out if the MOA is active? How do we know if that military operation area is active? Do we A, refer to the chart legend? B, this information is available in the small UAS database? Or C, refer to military operations directory? If you're not sure, again, this is that airspace stuff that, oh shoot, I don't know, I don't remember. That's why we're going to study. That's why we're studying. So if we go back to that study guide, right? Or where were we? Okay. We're going to go back up to, I want to say Airspace's page 8. Military operations area, right? And the question asks us, how would we find out if the MOA is active? Real simple. Again, read the stuff, read the study guide. The study guide's a gem, I'm telling you. And if you read under MOA right here, it says, however, the MOA is further defined on the back of the sectional charts, with times of operations. So if you want to know if the MOA is active, what are we going to do? We're going to refer to the chart, right? Refer to the chart legend because it tells us the back of the charts have it. So it's not this small UAS database, and it's not a military operations directory. The study guide tells us it's the back of the sectional charts. So our answer would be A, refer to the chart legend. All right. So we're going to do a few more, and then we kind of jump around. So we're going to go to question 11. The most comprehensive information on an airport is provided by what or who? The Chart Supplements US, formerly Airport Facility Directory, Notice to Airmen's or NOTAMs, or the Terminal Area Chart. The question asks the most comprehensive information on a given airport is provided by, and we're going to go to our study guide, and I believe it's on page 66, so we're going to go down here, 59, 60, 64, and it says, the Chart Supplement US, formerly Airport Facility Directory, provides what? The most comprehensive information on a given airport. So it's real simple. The answer is right there in the study guide. So the question, the most comprehensive information on a given airport is given by or provided by the Chart Supplements US. That is something I remember seeing on the exam, and there's a good chance that you will, because airspace is all about charts and knowing where you are and what's going on around you and what's what knowing your environment. So I noticed on the exam they really emphasize knowing your airspaces, who to contact in airspaces, and where to get the most current and detailed information. Like these exams really kind of focus on that. So number 11, the most comprehensive information on a given airport is provided by the Chart Supplements US, or the formerly the Airport Facility Directory. That's one to remember. Number 12. So this one talks about a personality. So in the exam they do discuss personalities, risky behaviors and things like that, because drones do have the potential, if mishandled or not flown correctly, can create a lot of havoc or cause a lot of damage. We know that. So question 12 says, identify the hazardous attitude or characteristic a remote pilot displays while talking or taking risks in order to impress others. What hazardous attitudes or characteristic a remote pilot would display while taking risks in order to impress others? There's three. There's impulsivity, invulnerability, and macho. Again, if you're not sure, we're going to go to page 54 of our study guide, and it discusses the different personalities, the different things. So there's 5 hazardous attitudes, and it talks about them. But the one we're looking for, well, of course, you want to know them all, but this one says taking risks in order to impress others, right? So if we look at the 5 hazardous attitudes, follow the rules, not so fast. This one, taking chances is foolish. It asks you, a remote pilot that takes risks, so the answer would be macho. That would be the hazardous attitude or characteristics of a pilot who takes risks in order to impress others. It'd be a macho. Or it could be, if they ask a different question of something, this is where you refer back to. But of course, you want to study this before we take the exam. All right. And then we're going to go to question 13, guys. We are, I'd say, about halfway through. We'll just kind of see how it goes. Question 13 says, you have been hired. We're going to refer again to the supplement book, Figure 26, Area 4. So let's find that first, right? So we're going to go to Figure 26, Area 4. And we are on figure 21. So we're going to zoom out some here, make it a little easier. 22, 23, 24, 25. So 26, Area 4. So that's this area here. And they even give you the little red dot and they tell you, hey, this is the area, right? All right, so the question says, you have been hired to inspect the tower under construction at 46.9, 98.6 west, near Jamestown Regional Airport, right? What must you receive prior to flying your unmanned aircraft in this area? So if we look at the chart, it's this. This is the area, right? We know that this is Devil's Lake military operation area. This is a wildlife refuge, but this is an airspace. They want to know who must you authorize or who must you receive prior authorization from before flying in this area. It's not the military operations area, right? So we know it's not, let me get rid of this. We know it's not the military. And it's not the Park Service, right? You don't receive authorization from the Park Service. You receive authorization from ATC, the Air Traffic Control. The name says what it is. They control the air traffic, right? So they're the ones we'll ask permission from. We'll do number 14, and then we'll kind of I think I have kind of jump around. But number 14 says, again, telling us we're going to refer to the supplement chart, the supplement book, figure 20, area 5. So I'm going to look for, let's go up figure 20 and area 5. All right. So I'm at figure 20, area 5. The question says, how would a remote PIC or pilot in command check NOTAMs, notice the airmen's, as noted in the caution box before regarding the unmarked balloon? So remember, we looked over here and it says what? Unmarked balloon, cable 3,008 feet, MSL, check NOTAMs, right? So remember this warning that we got, this caution box. The question is asking us, where do we check? Is it by utilizing the Before You Fly mobile application? By contacting the FAA district office? Or by obtaining a briefing via an online source such as 1-800-WXBrief.com? I can tell you it's not B. You do not contact the FAA district office. All right? So if it's a notice to airmen, it's a NOTAM, it's a, hey, you got to read this. You need to be aware of this. Is it going to be the Before You Fly mobile app, which is something that you should have when you fly drones, or the WX Brief? Well, WX Brief is weather. So we would check the Before You Fly mobile app. So it would be A. All right. And I think I didn't even look at that one in the study guide, but you guys could definitely check that one. Double check me, and hey, if I'm off, or let me know. All right. So we're gonna skip to number 18, and you'll see why. This one this one talks about some other stuff and other stuff, but we're gonna go here to another chart supplement question. Figure 26, area 2. So we're going to go down to figure 26. Again, in the book, it's so much easier. 26, area 2. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit for you guys here. And as you see, figure 20, what did I say, 25? Or 26, area 2. So that's here. That's all this, and that's up here. So the question asks us, while monitoring the Cooperstown CTAF, you hear an aircraft announce that they are midfield, left downwind to runway 13. Where would the aircraft be relative to the runway? So we're going to go back, and it says, we're going to zoom in here. Right? Go down. All right, so here is Cooperstown Airport. Here's Area 2. And again, it's asking us, while monitoring the Cooperstown, you hear an aircraft announce that they are midfield left downwind to runway 13. Midfield left downwind. All right, so if they're midfield, so let's see if I can zoom in some more. I'm going to go over here. All right, so this is the airport, right? Midfield is going to be somewhere, it's either going to be on this side or this side, right? It's one of these two sides because it's the middle of the field. And it says left downwind. All right, so if they are left downwind, they're going to be on this side, the right side, because the field is to their left. All right, so the question says they're midfield left downwind to runway 13. Where would the aircraft be relative to the runway? Is it east, west, south, or west? All right, midfield, which is the middle of this field, left downwind, which means the airport is on their left. So if the airport is going to be on my left, I'm going to be to the east of the airport. If it was right downwind, then that means the airport is to my right, and I would be here. But if I'm midfield, so the middle of this airport here, left downwind, the airport is to my left, which means I would have to be over here. Okay? So that's really how that one is answered. If you have the paper, you get the paper, whatever, and you have to draw it. If you have to draw a little runway and then say, okay, this is the middle. If it's left downwind, it means it's on the left, or right downwind, whatever. You could draw it and write it, and then you'll be able to kind of orient yourself and figure out where the airplane is in reference to the runway. So the answer is east. The aircraft is east. Middle, left downwind. Left downwind, again, means the airport is on the left side. And if the airport's on my left or the aircraft's left, let me back up. If the airport is to the left, that means you are to the east, right? You guys are like, oh my God, he just confused the daylights out of me. If the airport is to my left, which would be, let me get it, guys. 1 second. This is midfield, right? You guys can't see it. Anyways, I guess I'm making a bigger confusion than it should be. And I hope I didn't confuse you again. The middle of the field, it tells you left downwind. The airport is to my left. So I have to be somewhere over here in order for the airport to be to my left. I can't be south because the airport would be north of me. And I can't be west because the airport would be right of me. Right? Correct? So I'd be east. All right. So we're going to move on from that. If you have a question or something, just, hit me up and I can run it back. So we're going to go to number 22. I picked 22. Safety is an important element for a remote pilot to consider prior to operating an unmanned aircraft system. To prevent the final link in the accident chain, a remote pilot must consider which methodology. So that refers to, we're going to go to page 22. Then we'll read it. So it's talking about risks assessment. There's several different things that should be going on when, page 52, when you are flying a drone. There's a lot of things to take into consideration, things going on, decision making, and things like that. So we talk about, it asks, safety is an important element for a remote pilot to consider prior to operating your drone, essentially. To prevent the final link in the accident chain, a remote pilot must consider which methodology. And there's three. There's crew resource management, safety management systems, and risk management. if you're not sure, if you didn't study, or if you are studying, we're going to go back to our handbook, our study guide, and it says risk management. So risk management is the one that we're going to choose. Yes, there are crew resource management, and then risk management. Yeah, risk management too. So that's the one you're going to choose, risk management, because it has six different things you'll do in the process. So it makes it the most thorough. And again, it says in order to prevent that last link failure, right, in the accident chain, which one would you use? Crew resource management, safety management systems, or risk management? And you're going to do risk management because it covers everything. So you'll see that in the exam. It's something to remember. So we're going to shoot over to question, what did I put? 29. A lot of these were random. I just once I got through the first whatever, I was like, okay, we'll just kind of go jump around. So question 29 says, according to 14 CFR Part 107, who is responsible for determining the performance of a small unmanned aircraft? It's always the pilot in command. The pilot in command. Not the person who made it, not the owner, but the person controlling, flying the drone is responsible for the performance of it, right? You can't blame the manufacturer when you're the one flying it, and how it performs, and it's on you. It's on the PIC, the remote pilot in command. So remember that. Question 30. So we're gonna, again, this is telling us we're gonna refer to the supplemental chart. Figure 59, area 2. Let's see if we could hit that up right quick. 59, area 2. So we're going to pull this up. And actually, I'm going to zoom out right quick because you see how zoomed in I am. And we're going to go to number 59. Did it say it right? Right, guys? Anybody? Just kidding. 59, area 2. All right. So we're almost there. Looking in the book, it's a lot quicker. 59, area 2. So figure 59, and it tells us area 2 is in this area here. It's designated. It's telling us. All right. So the question says, the chart shows a gray line with VR 1667, VR 1617, VR 1638, and VR 1668. Could this area present a hazard to the operation of a small UA? So it's saying, if you look at this chart, you see, let me zoom in here. Right here, see this VR 1667, 1617. It's asking, do you have to worry about this? Is this a threat? Is this anything that can pose problems or a hazard to your drone? So there we go. What number was that? 30. Okay, so we're gonna go to page. All right, could it present a hazard? No, all operations will be above 400 feet. B, yes, this is a military training route from the surface to 1500 feet AGL. Or yes, the defined route provides traffic separation to manned aircraft. Again, if we're not sure, well, let's look at it first. Like, oh shoot, what did these VR1, what does all this mean? It is a training route. The military training route tells you this is the route that they'll be going. This gray line. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me see if I can zoom in here. This gray line here, I'm gonna highlight. You guys love when I highlight stuff. Represents the military training route. So that's saying that from the surface to 1500 feet AGL, you will see military stuff going this way, whatever the case is. So could it pose a threat? Absolutely, depending on how high you fly and whatnot. Question 31 asks, what does the line of latitude at area 4 measure? So this lets us know we're going to go into the supplement guide, and we're going to go find figure 26 as I scroll all the way back up. Figure 2, I went too far, guys. Can't seem to win for losing on this thing, right? 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. All right. It says figure 26. What does the line of latitude at area 4 measure? So we have area 4, the line of latitude. So longitude is what? The long line, right? East to west, latitude, lateral, north to south. So if it's asking you, what does the line of latitude at area 4 measure? So we have area 4, and you have these lines of latitude. That's one. Oop, whoa, that was really crooked, wasn't it, guys? Jeez, let me try going from down to up. That one, and this one. These are lines of latitude. Well, a little straighter, but they are lines of latitude, up and down, north and south. So what do they represent? The degrees of latitude east and west of the prime meridian, A. The degrees of latitude north and south of the equator, or the degrees of latitude east and west of the lines that pass through Greenwich, England. We know that latitude is what? Up and down, north and south. So it's going to be B, the degrees of latitude north and south of the equator. All right, that was question 31. So just remember, longitude, long, east-west, latitude, lateral, north-south. All right. We're going to go to question, I put 34 up here, so let's jump down to 34. According to 14 CFR Part 48, this deals with registration, when would a small UA owner not be permitted to register it? When would a small UA owner, drone owner, not be allowed to register their drone? A, if the person is less than 13. B, everybody must register their small UA. Or C, if the owner does not have a valid state driver's license. I know the answer. I thought I put the page to go to, but I didn't in the study guide. But it's A. If the person, so the age is 14. So if the person is 13, they cannot register the drone themselves. Somebody else has to register the drone. So the answer would be A, 13. Otherwise, if it weighs more than 0.55 pounds but less than 55 pounds, it has to be registered. But if the person is under 13, they can't register it, so someone else would have to. Let's go to 38. Question 38 right quick, and we're just about done, guys. What are the characteristics of stable air? Remember, so we're going to go back to our study guide where we talked about weather, which was, forgive me, that was up here. So they want to know the characteristics of stable air, right? Where? I mean, I would just say it, but it's more of the process, right? Being able to read the books and things like that. So, actually, let me do this. All right. I'm trying to go back to the page that I had it, but I don't. All right, so the question again is, what are the characteristics of stable air? So the answer is C, poor visibility and intermittent precipitation. So we're going to go back to, where's, oh gosh, you guys are going to kill me. You guys are like, what the hell? Oh, stability. Okay. Question. Characteristics of stable air. A stable atmosphere makes vertical movement difficult and small vertical disturbances dampen out. In an unstable atmosphere, we talked about it getting the clouds, the turbulence, and all that. But it says a stable atmosphere makes vertical movement difficult and Small vertical disturbances dampen out and disappear. The greatest instability occurs when the air is moist and warm, as in tropical air. All right. Stability. So yeah, stable air, poor visibility, intermittent precipitation. And 37. All right. So with that, I know I was like kind of all over the place, kind of not all over the place, but the point is, I wanted to kind of just get you guys to get a feel for the study guide specifically, because it's really it's a really good tool to use. It's a good resource to refer back to. I do encourage you guys to use as many practice tests that you can. There's plenty of free ones. Like I said, there's the one from King's School, which is free. The one from the FAA, which is free. There are quite a few other ones. You just kind of find them out. Some cost money, some don't. The supplement guide, again, is free. Everything you need is free, except to take the exam, like register the drone and stuff like that. But I really encourage you to do kind of the research before having to spend extra money on study guides and things like that. Because yes, it may seem like a lot, and if you're new to it, it's kind of overwhelming, but it's not something that is unobtainable or you just won't be able to grasp. You just got to be patient. Give yourself time. Remind yourself that you are investing in you, and whether you plan on making money with this license or just having it to have it, so a lot of the limitations are lifted off of you. Take time to do it right. I wish I didn't miss those 6 questions. It kind of threw me off because I thought I was pretty well prepared, but people say, oh, 90% is good, but I thought I'd do a little better, and I was a bit disappointed. And they do give you an opportunity. You have to wait, I think, 30 days after the initial test to retake it to try to score higher. But, you have to pay and do all that, and I'm kind of, I don't want to go that route right now. So use the study guide, use the supplement guide, kind of, get familiar with these things, get familiar with what things look like, what airspaces look like, what caution boxes, whatever the things you should know. Kind of familiarize yourself. You don't have to memorize everything, but try to make it so everything is not foreign to you when you go to take the exam. You guys can do this. I really appreciate. I like to see comments. People passing exams, not passing exams. I like to hear different things going on. If you have a question, like I said, unfortunately, the practice exams that you find are a little bit, a few years old, but the material is still very, very valid. So do not be discouraged. Don't say, oh, this is old, I don't want it, or I can't use it. You definitely can, and just build on what you know, and then, of course, what you can get your hands on. If you guys, again, have any questions, concerns, anything that I could do better, or you want to know about that you don't know yet, let me know. I'll try to figure it out, because when you guys succeed, I succeed, and we all succeed. Our end goal is to get this. This is why we're watching these videos and studying and doing everything that we're doing, is because we all want this. And I'm not a hater on anybody. I encourage, I want to see as many people get it because I love aviation. So if I can help one person or 10 people, it's what I want. And with that, I guess we'll call it an end. I know it's been a lot. I know I kind of might have confused some people on some stuff. Hopefully I didn't. If I did, kind of just rewatch it. I have another video, might help a little bit, or just reach out to me, and I could always try to clarify or try to fix some stuff if need be. But with that, study hard, study smart. Don't burn yourself out. Don't stress. Stress is huge. It's real. They talk about it in the exam. Physically taking care of yourself. They give you plenty of time for the test, so don't stress. Don't feel rushed. Remember, you can always go back You can mark something. I think I did like that for like almost 10 questions. I marked it so I can go back to it. You know, I read it. You either know it, or you might know it, or you don't know it. But when you see a question, if you don't know it and you feel like you're going to be stumped or have to spend time, just mark it and go to the next one. A, so it doesn't stress you out. And B, you know, the next one you might get right. And, you know, the more you get right, you kind of get in this rhythm, this role, and you feel good about yourself and what you're doing. Then, you know, the rest of the test kind of goes. You're like, oh, I got this. Like, but if you stay stumped on a single question, it's going to stress you out. You're going to be like, oh, worried about time and this and that. Just get through the ones you know. Then go through the ones that you pretty sure about, and then go to the ones that you don't know that are going to tie you up. But yeah, so with that, I wish you guys don't need good luck. If you're ready, if you're ready and you're prepared, you won't need luck, because you'll just know it, because it's not going to be something super foreign. You know, everything is related based on the study guides and the other tests and things out there. So do your research. Give yourself some time, practice. Remember, the investment, you're spending money, and it's not cheap, and you're spending it on yourself. So, you know, if you're worth it, if you feel you're worth it, take your time. So it's a one and done situation. It's not 2 or 3 times and you're like, dang. You're investing in you, and you are the best investment you'll ever make. And act like it, you know. So do it right, and you won't have to do it twice. With that, peace. Anti-recidivism, we gotta bring them home and keep guys out of trouble. All right, good luck, everybody. Peace.